Tip number 6 is to do with SUMIF, AVERAGEIF and Countif functions. Let's have a look at the data. What is the total number of sales for Greater Manchester? Well, I can work this out by applying a filter. So I'll click on filter, or I could highlight the table first, and I say Greater Manchester, and I highlight all of the sales volumes, and I see the total at the bottom, 932,000. But what happens when that figure changes? Suppose I suddenly get data for November and December 2016. That figure is going to be out of date. So what we can do instead is calculate it using a formula. Now the formulas are SUMIF, AVERAGEIF and Countif. And here are these function names translated into 15 different languages. So taking the SUMIF first. The SUMIF requires 3 things. First of all, what are you going to use as your criteria range? So what are you looking for? Well, I'm looking for the region name being Greater Manchester. So my area that I'm looking at is all of this area. So I've clicked on B2, I've gone to the end of my data, and I've clicked on B1585. Now what am I looking for? I'm looking for Greater Manchester. And then what do I actually want to sum? Well, I want to sum the sales volume. So again, I will select the same rows, and that's important. So it says 2 and 1585 in both areas. Press enter, and there is my answer. So now, if I do get new sales volume, my SUMIF will increase, but only for Greater Manchester data. So I no longer have to do manual searches. I can just rely on the real live values. AVERAGEIF works exactly the same way. So here I'm not getting the sum of all of the sales volume, I'm getting the average per month, but only for Greater Manchester. So you can see the average 3,532. Countif works fairly similar, except it doesn't need the sales volume. All I'm trying to do is count the number of rows where column B contains Greater Manchester. So that's just one thing less I have to worry about, and that's the final thing. So I'll get rid of that. So you can see SUMIF 932,000, AVERAGEIF 3,000, Countif 264. Now these formulas get a little simpler if you have this in a table. So let's convert this into a table like we saw in tip number 3. So now my SUMIF is SUMIF, and I just click on the region name area. So I've just clicked on B1, and you can see it's highlighted the right area. B2 down through to B1585. So comma, I type in Greater Manchester, and then I click on the sales volume and close. So which is more readable, this first one or this second one? Now you might say, well, table 1 isn't particularly readable. Okay, well, I'm just going to go into table 2's design, and I'm going to change the table name to house inflation. So hopefully that makes it more readable. So SUMIF is where the region name is Greater Manchester, sum the sales volume. AVERAGEIF is where the region name is equal to Greater Manchester, then I want an average of the sales volume. And Countif is where the region name is equal to Greater Manchester, just tell me the number of times that occurs. So SUMIF, AVERAGEIF, Countif, very useful functions. You just have to remember which order everything goes in.